So I wanna try to do the kitzer, but to separate the shiur into 4 parts. Okay? Obviously we try to rush them up, but the 4 parts. The first part is just the Metzias. The Metzias of what we're talking about, what the Zebu is, and the whole history, the whole 70-year history of this whole shiur. The shiur is 50 years old, 70 years old, the whole shiur, that's the first part. And Kiyadua, the Chazon Ish answered, and his three Mekaymis were the Shach, the Chochmas Adam, and the Meseches Chulin. So the first part, we're just going to go about the history. What the history is, what we're talking about, and exactly all the Hishtalshalos for the past 70 years. Then we'll go through each one separately. Another part the Shach, another part the Chochmas Adam, another part the Meseches Chulin. Okay, that's the plan. So first, what's the shiur? The shiur is the Zebu. What is Zebu? So now, for most of you, this doesn't look like a cow, but this is the Zebu. This is the Zebu. Okay, I moved a couple extra pictures, and that's enough. Yeah, this is the Zebu. Yeah. What now? A regular cow looks like this, right? This is a regular cow. This is a regular cow. This is a regular cow. The regular cow that we eat is always called the Angus, or it's called the Black Angus or Red Angus. It comes from Europe. It comes from somewhere in Europe. That's the Angus. That's if somebody wants to talk about it. If you go to a restaurant, they want to talk about geschmack of meat. They say Angus. That's geschmack. That's Angus. That's this. But the what's called it? This thing is called a Zebu. Now the word Zebu. Let's just what's called the word Zebu is the definition for any humped cattle. Any cow that has a hump like this. Now, be'etzem it's not just one kind. This is called the Brahman, is one of the kinds. But be'etzem there's like 9 of them, 9 different kinds of cows or cattle that have this bump. This thing also, and this is what the Chazon Ish was talking about, has very flappy ears and a lot of hanging skin over here. Okay, that's the shiur. So it looks a lot different than the regular cow that we know, right? That's the shmuz, right? So now, so what happened was that in 1 second, just gonna find my what's called it. So right in the beginning of the Medina, in 1950, Rav Herzog asked the shiur, like he sent a letter to the Chazon Ish. What's a shiur? And this is very important to figure out. So he asked the shiur, it was very hard to get meat in Eretz Yisrael, and they wanted to bring from Madagascar. You know where Madagascar is? Madagascar is. Here's Africa. So over here there's like a small island country, small. There's 25 million people, but it's over here. That's where from over there they wanted to get meat. Now, what's important to Madagascar? What's important about Madagascar is that Madagascar is a warm climate, and in warm climates, our Angus doesn't what's called it. It doesn't do well. First, it gets a lot of sirchus, it doesn't do well. So what's the best thing? The best thing is to get a Zebu. Why? Because the Zebu cows come from India, and India is this is the holy cow, by the way. This is from India, and this cow, since it comes from a warm climate, so mamela, it does very well, and therefore that's why in Madagascar they use this cow. So the Rav Herzog wanted to know, are you allowed to use this cow? What was the shiur? There was no shiur. He never thought of the shiur Mesorah, b'chlama. There was no such a tzad. What was the shiur? The shiur was like this. There's a Beis Yankiv, and this is a very, very important tshuva that we're going to come back to a few times. There's a tshuva's Beis Yankiv that's brought down. If you see in the sheet, I brought it down. It's brought down the Pesach tshuva. The Pesach tshuva brings down the tshuva's Beis Yankiv. Now, the tshuva's Beis Yankiv is a sefer that was very, very, very not motzi. Most people didn't. And nowadays, you have it on Noitza Chachma, you have it on Hebrew books. Now it's readily available. It was never printed. It was printed once, but it was a big gun bismanoi. It's a little bit after the Shach. It was a big gun, and Kiyodua the Yodei Sefer knew his sefer, And he has a whole tshuva. It's a whole pilpul, a ganze pilpul. But bottom line is, in his sefer, he says that for the kashrus of a behema, we know you need only malagera and marfis parsa. What's the kashrus of a chaya? Kashrus of a chaya is three simonim. Malagera, marfis parsa, and the simonim that we had in the Gemara in Daf Nutesam Beis about the horns. Kruches, haduros, remember those horns? You need that also. All of them for the kashrus. And he's medayik in the lashon of the mechaber. If you look at the mechaber, it's on the top of the lashon of mechaber in Siman Pei, the first Siman Pei in Yardei, first sif, he says, Chaya toher chel b'moto, over fine. Mipi hashmua b'karnisel im heim mefutzalois vaday chaya toheri. So the Beis Yaakov says, from here's a raya that for a chaya, for its kashrus, you need all three simonim. Malagera, Marfus Parsa, and the Simonim with Kanisa.
Even though it says,
very good. That's exactly what Meseches Chulin kasha. Very good. So Meseches Chulin asks that doesn't shtim later on. It's before not like that, right? Very good. Very good. And that's why if you look at the Meseches Chulin, which I put over there, Meseches Chulin says he's matchit b'shnei yadayim. He's matchit b'shnei yadayim. But bottom line, but the Maisa Beis Yaakov it's a Safek Daraisa. He says that Midaraisa it's Asa. And Mamela so refers like wrote to the Chazon Ish what his Daita Lahatir and the Refertzak was naming on for Dava Pashut. He was naming on that it's very possible that this is taka not a cow. Maybe it's taka not a cow. So if it's not a cow and you need a what's called it. So Mamela. So Rav Herzog wrote to Chazon Ish that Chazon Ish should, if the Chazon Ish is mat, it should be mat. Now that letter from that Rav Herzog wrote to Chazon Ish is not extant. We don't have that letter. We don't have that letter from Rav Herzog. But we do have the letters that the letter that the Chazon Ish wrote back. The Chazon Ish wrote back. He says that yeah, Takin Echanami, Beis Yaakov, we don't pass like Beis Yaakov. We don't pass like Beis Yaakov. But Zok the Chazon Ish, there's another problem. There's a problem that we don't take any new animals. Anything that we didn't have in Europe, anything that we're not motzi, we don't eat. Why? We have a din on Mesorah. And he's going to learn it up in a shach, and he says, even though, I'm going to go through it soon, but he says, even though the Pri Megadim says that that's not the pshat in the shach, but he says, if you look at the Pashtus Alosh shach means that it's also. And he says, and look at the Chachmas Adam. The Chachmas Adam learns also like that the shach is answering anything that we don't have in Mesorah. That's it. That's the Chazon Ish says. And okay, we'll be Maricher. He says, what should be the issue? What could be the problem? The Chazon Ish is already mad. But that's the. We're just going through the history over here. That's what the Chazon Ish is. So. Rav Herzog wasn't Mekabel this B'chalal, and he wrote out a ganze sefer Kuntrus Pnei Ador to be matter the Zebu. And not only that, after he wrote his Kuntrus, he also went and he was goyva edus from people in India. That people in India they ate this cow. This is the normal cow, right? So now he's goyva edus. So we have Mesorah on it even. Chazon Ish wrote another letter, and Chazon Ish wrote a letter to the ganze Morei Ra. And these later letters already are printed in the Sefer. He says in Sefer Chazon Ish, he says that first of all for the Mesorah of that you have in India, we pass in Legabi Mesorah of Oifis that you can't go a Mesorah from one town to the other. So even Legabi this Mesorah, this Mechulish Diga Mesorah Legabi Behemis, which Mechulish is nothing. What could be this? We still have the problem that you can't go Mesorah, you can't go from one place to the other, and also he's Moisef. He says also I have Aruch HaShulchan. We'll get to what the raya is, but also I found another raya like the shach, like my pshat in the shach. There's the Aruch HaShulchan. Go look in the Aruch HaShulchan. The Aruch HaShulchan first. So now the Chazon Ish is the shach, the Chachmas Adam and the Aruch HaShulchan. Fine. Lemaisa the umas and the Chazon Ish was he wrote a letter to Morei Ra and a lot of people obviously weren't going to be mekabel, and it wasn't financially, it wasn't going to work. And the Itaka did not bring meat in from Madagascar. And that was the end of that story. Lemaisa, Luma said the Chuvas Beis Yitzchok and the Kafachayim and the Dakei Tshuva all mefurish, not like the Chazon Ish's pshat in the Shach. And the truth is, there's nobody that ever said this pshat like the Shach, except the Chazon Ish. But that's how it was. Then the Shaila became more nitaysiv. Why? Because now the Shaila, besides the Zebu, the Shaila is nowadays there's such a thing called the American bison or the buffalo, right? We call it a buffalo, whatever. It's called the American bison. That's supposed to be very healthy, and they started selling it. And they started selling either the American buffalo. I brought some pictures of this also. But besides the American buffalo, they make now American buffalo is not so gishmak. It's talking not too much meat, not too much fat. So they what's called the mark of it, the American buffalo together with a meat, together with cow, and they call it beefalo, and that is they sell it in the stores by us. So that's now the shaila. Are you allowed to eat that? Because that doesn't have a Mesorah. Because the American bison for sure doesn't have a Mesorah. So I brought some pictures of that real quickly. Yeah, and on this, so this tshuva was sent to the Sheikh Halevi, and Sheikh Halevi said, he goes through it. He says we don't paskin like the Chazon Ish. There's nothing to worry about. We don't paskin like this. You don't need a Mesorah. And he says in Eretz Yisrael, listen, the tshuva was sent to him from America. If you're allowed to have the beefalo, he says in America, this is a picture of the. 1 second, that's good. Try to bring a lot of pictures. 1 second. Here's a picture of a bison, right? Here's a picture of the bison, American bison. But there's also okay, I can't find it right now. But there's I brought along a picture of the beefalo also. Okay. So anyway, but that was the shiloh. That's the shiloh about the beefalo, and so Sheikh Halevi says it's no problem. So now that was the end of the story so far. But now it got really interesting. Why did it get very interesting? Because Eretz Yisrael doesn't bring in any meat from Madagascar, but they bring in meat from South America, from Paraguay and Uruguay. Right? And the problem is over there, and in America also they bring in a lot of meat from South America. The problem is that the meat over there, the climate is also very warm, right? And the Mela, the cows, the Angus, doesn't do well in a warm climate, right? So they started not yet, but they don't want to use a Zebu. If they would use a Zebu, so the Sheikhim would have known, no problem. Zebu, we don't use Zebu. Chazon Ish, we don't use Zebu. But the problem is that we don't like to use Zebu, because Zebu is not Geshmak meat. It's not your Pesha. Angus is Geshmak meat. That's what they like to have. So what's the Eitzah? So in South America, they started using something called Brangus. Brangus is, Brahman is the name of one of the Zebu, and Angus is the Geshmak meat. If you mix them, you are a cover of a Brangus, a Brahman with an Angus, that's perfect. It's first of all, it's very resilient. You don't have a problem with sirchis. It does well in a warm climate, and it tastes very geshmak. So they have the perfect brangus is 5 parts out of 8 parts. 5/8 is Angus, and 3 parts is Zebu. Is Brahman. And that cow can't tell the difference. That's the problem. You can't tell the difference. Here, this is a picture. This is a picture of Angus. Of Brangus. It looks like a regular. You can't tell the difference. Maybe you can see that it's a little you can't tell the difference. It looks like a regular Angus cow. You can't tell the difference. And since you can't tell the difference, so no one knew anything. So for years and years and years, they were bringing this meat into Eretz Yisrael, and that was it. They were eating it. Then all of a sudden, it became a tumult, and they brought the shmuz to Rabbi Yashiv. What should we do? This is a what's called it? It's Zebu Chazon Ish Asa. We're not allowed to have the Zebu, right? That was the way the Shaila at. So Rabbi Yashiv Taka wrote, what's called, we have the Chazon Ish, and the Mela B'nai Torah should be makbid, and he says what's on the shelves you can still sell, and in a place where places where you can't get kosher meat anyway, you're going to be makbid, this is going to be a problem of kashrus, shouldn't be makbid, but B'kitzur, but al B'nai Torah you should be makbid in it. That was what Rabbi Yashiv wrote in his tshuva. I have it here, but anyway, you'll trust me. Lamaisa, it was in this bar in Eretz Yisrael after that all the milk cows, forget about the meat cows, all the milk cows in Eretz Yisrael also have a little bit of their what's it called, it is also some of the zebu. So Mela, and so B'kitzur, that's where the Shiloh stayed, and the Mela, they're not makbid on it and finished. That's where it's at. Finished. It's not negated to be makbid on this Chumul Chazon Ish. So that's where the shmuz ended, because it's b'chalal not negated. All the cows start what's called they're replacing all the cows, and so it wasn't negated. Again, the Shiloh came up again one more time in America. There was Shlomo Miller heard about that Baker, it's Milmart uses their cold cuts comes from South America, from either Paraguay or Uruguay, I'm not sure, where it's matzah, a lot of this brengus, this mixture cow, which is a problem because it has some zebu in it, and he wrote also that B'nai Torah shouldn't use it, and but I don't know that anybody's makbid on it, but that's where the Shiloh is in the Meseches. Fine? Okay, that's the...
America itself does not have it?
In America, I don't know, it seems like, I just saw today, it seems like maybe in Texas some people use it because it's a warm climate. In a cold climate, if I care, it's better to have the older one, the regular Angus. But in the warmer climates, like in Texas, I guess they do have it. But that's the shmooze, that's the history from the past 70 years. That's the shmooze. Okay. So now let's go into part two. Let's try to see a little bit what's the shmooze, what's the shayla. So if you see, there's the lashon of the shach, right? The shach, right in the beginning of Siman Pei, the shach says, "Ayin pir shel dvarim elu." This is the Shulchan Aruch just told us the halacha of mefutzalis and kruchos and aduros, all the different simonim with the machlokes Rashi Taisus about what you need to do so Rashi, what you need for the horns, the kashrus of what of a chaya. Now, kipshutoi, right? Kipshutoi, the Shulchan Aruch is b'chlal not talking about kashrus. Right, because Siman Ayin Tess already told us that you need malgeir and mafres parsa. Right. Well, Siman Pei is only telling you about the kasher of a chaya. Right. What makes something? What makes a chaya kosher? What's in the geir? If it's a chaya, it's not a chaya. The geir chelba, that chelba is mutter, and that there's no, and that's a chiv of kisadam. Right. And that's what the Siman is talking about. Zok the Shach, ayin pir shel dvarim elu v'beis Yosef. In other words, I'm not going to be married in it. Ulefisha ein lanu ata ela mashe kibalnu b'mesoros u'k'lik amon siman pei beis gabi simani oif k'tzarti. He says, since, you know why I'm not going to be married in these halachas? I'll tell you why. Lefisha ein lanu ata. We don't have ato now. Ela mashe kibalnu b'mesoros. Only the things that we have in Mesoros. What's the Mesoros? Mesoros is u'k'lik amon b'siman pei beis, which is going to be the halachas of Simoni Oifis, and over there we know that there's the halacha of Mesorah, right? Kutzati. That's why he was cut, right? So for a second, let's remember what it says in Siman Pei Beis, the Gabi Mesorah, right? If you remember the sugya in Elitrefis, right? There's really two halachas that people call Mesorah. And one's a chumrah and one's a kula. Right? What's the halacha of Mesorah that we learned in the Gemara? The one, right? Oif Torah nechba Mesorahs. That's a kula or a chumrah. Right? The Gemara says, the Gemara in some beis, right? Oif Torah nechba Mesorahs, right? Or some gimel, I'm not sure. Right? Some gimel is. Yes, correct. So the Gemara says, "Oif Torah nechba Mesorahs." Is that a kula or a chumrah? It's about the kula, right? No, it's always a kula. Oif Torah Nechel B'Meseres means that what? That you don't have to go before you sit down eating chicken. You don't have to go and check before you chef the chicken to check the four simonim. It's a Moed Kula. Oif Torah Nechel B'Meseres is a Kula. Yeah, Naman outside. Is that you could just look at it. You have a Mesorah that this is kosher. It's Kula. That halacha is called Mesorah. There's another halacha that's a Moed Chumrah. And normally when somebody says Mesorah, he's referring to the second halacha. What's that second halacha? That's the halacha that Rashi introduced to us in the blot before. That what? That because there was a problem of the trying to go to the Agma, that they were eating a chicken for a long time. They were eating it, chicken or whatever it is. This they were eating it for a long time, assuming that it's kosher, and then they found it to be dairis. So Rashi says from now on we can't be soymach on our own bedikas simanim. So we can't eat anything based on bedikas simanim. So what are we going to eat by? Only by Mesorah, right? So what does that mean? That means that from now on we don't eat any new oifes. You can't eat any new oif. Only oif that you have in Mesorah. That halacha is a glavin, right? That halacha is that the pshat is oif that you can only eat with a Mesorah. You can't eat any kind of a chicken, any kind of a duck, anything that we don't have Mesorah, right? So now, so the pashtus of the shach is referring to the chumrah, right? So there that since we don't have any, we don't eat ulfisha ein lanu ata el masha kibalnu Mesorah. So we don't eat anything without a Mesorah, right? Like it says in Sim Pei Beis, Katzarti. That's the shach. So right away the Pri Megadim jumps on the shach. He says, "What do you mean? What's the tzushtal to simani oifis? By oifis, there's a problem with the suffix deraisa. Maybe what? Maybe it's a dairis, a mill, and it's also deraisa. Over here, there's no chashash deraisa. What's the chashash over here? What are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? If it's malagir or mafras price, it's for sure kosher. So what's the problem? If you don't have Mesorah, who cares? Right? That's the Pri Megadim's kasha. So to Pri Megadim, the only answer is that is a new kind of a thing. We are makbid on Mesorah. Talk about Mesorah, but not beneged the kashas of the animal. Of course, not the kashas. It's for sure kosher. The only beneged chelba v'dama. That what? That we just got finished the whole simon telling us that the pshat is that there's different simanim to tell us, to tell you if it's a chaya or it's a behema, and it's complicated halachas. We're not gonna go be semich on these simanim. And we're always going to be makbid on any new animal that comes in front of us, you have to be makbid that it's chelbas asr and we need to be chayiv kisei adam b'chol. That's the Pri Megadim. That's what he says. That's the pshat in the shach. Yeah. So memela it's negeh. So what do we do by a zebu or by a buffalo or by any other any other new animal that you're going to bring in front? No problem. You don't know if it's we don't know if it's a chay. We don't know if it's a behema, but it's kosher. It's malagir. It's mafres parsa. There's no question about it. It's kosher. Like the Pri Megadim. But we have to be makbid. We have to be makbid. Since we don't have Mesorah on it, we have to be makbid that assume give it chumrei chay or chumrei behema. Yeah, that's the Pri Megadim's. So the Chazon Ish, it's not mashman in the shach. It's not mashman in the shach. Ein lanu ata means ein lanu ata. Ein lanu ata doesn't mean ein lanu halfway. Ein lanu ata means ein lanu ata. Yeah. V'oid zok the Chazon Ish. He says. The Chazon Ish he says it's not mistaba that there were certain animals that came in Europe and they said nope, we have a Mesorah. No, you can't do this. It's mashma like this is a minig that they know that they're doing, right? So when did they ever have to do this? When was it ever again that they put that they were doing anybody nobody else that would say it? Nobody such a gewaltige takana that somebody was makbid on right? The marshal Mesorah by Oifis. Mesorah by Oifis is a Rashi, the Rishonim, is the halacha, it's brought down. There's a shach who's telling us psanaya takana, let's say like the Chazon Ish, and no one says a word. No one told us where we were there makbid. Right? And the shach is mashma like it's like it's Davi Yadua. Like Davi Yadua. Nobody knows about it. No one mentioned it. And it's also shver. Why did the shach, if the shach is telling you Isser, you're not allowed to eat it, why is he telling it to us in the simon? He should have told us in the simon before. The simon before told us what's kosher and what's not kosher. Now already we're going into pitchufkis, what's a chay and what's a behema. But in Simon, in Simon Ayin Tes is where it tells us the kashas of behemoth. That's what you should have told us. You should have told us this new Allah. And Lamaisa, and the biggest kasha is the Pri Megadim's kasha. The Pri Megadim's kasha is gewaltig b'shingen. Why should it be awesome? What could be the problem? What are you afraid of? If it's for sure kosher, why should they make such a gewaltig gechona? So here's the lashon of the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish wrote like this: a whole bunch of svaris. This is what he wrote. V'hakol, and I'll just read out the lashon. V'hakol. This is the reason. You know why it's awesome? I'll tell you why it's awesome. V'hakol mishum migdar milsa. Then ismaitu al vavis v'neich lem lachsim b'seres. It's easier. Just we just go. The Tati time we're not going to do anything new. V'gam in mekabel chadashim nistabach b'din chelbon. Somehow we're gonna get mixed up with the chelbon and kisidam. I don't know why she get mixed up. There's the European buffalo that there was anyways a chumrah of chelbon v'dam. What's so schwer? How do you get mixed up? What's so schwer? The tire evereim with evereim lenient treifus kigoyin and east divided. This is a gewaltige svara. If you remember, Rashi brings down about the Unanisa divided. What the Gemara says that the Tabachi, right? That the pshat is that it seems like the Gemara didn't know about it, but there was some sort of a Mesorah and a Kabbalah about the shapes of the different inner Evarim, and that's negeh for the treifus. So the Chazon Ish, since if we're going to start being mekabel new animals, we don't know exactly how the shapes of the different animals are. So Mamela, that's why it was better. That's another svara. And then he throws in one more svara, one more thing. The aim aleinu lechapis etayim. And not versprechen kigashis. This is the Chazon Ish. Lamaisa, the what's called it, the Pri Megadim did ask the kasha. Pri Megadim held the shred. But this is the Chazon Ish. And one more thing, the Chazon Ish is Moishe. He says, and even if you're saying even if you'll say that the pshat and the shach is like the Pri Megadim, but Lididan is also. Why? He says because the Chachmas Adam was the Pesach of Lita, and the Chachmas Adam says it's us. The Chachmas Adam, we're going to see soon. The Chachmas Adam, he's learning that the Chachmas Adam learned in the shach like him, that it's asa. Memela, if the Chachmas Adam said it's asa, so even if you'll say that the Chachmas Adam got the shach wrong, and it's not the pshat in the shach, but the Maisa, now that's the minig, is like the Chachmas Adam pshat in the shach, and Memela it's asa. That's the Chazon Ish. Okay. So I want to try to be miyasha the lashon of the shach a different way, a new way, not like the shach, not like the way the Chazon Ish is learning, and not like the Pri Megadim, and try to be miyasha of these three kashas. Maybe the shach is talking about a whole different thing. He's not saying any new kabbalas. He's not saying anything new. He's saying b'mitzias there wasn't any new animals. Right? The shach is saying like this: what's the negatus whole simon? What's the negatus whole simon? It's negatus whole simon only if you have a new animal. You don't know if it's a deer or you don't know if it's a shiur or a behema. So you have to start going through this among kruchas and duras. You have to start figuring out with the horns to know this new animal. What is it? Is it a shiur or a behema? Lefisha ein lanu ato. We don't have here in Poland. We don't have any new animals that we have shayla if it's a shiur or a behema. We don't have any new animals. It's before they weren't going to America. It's not any new animals. Ein lanu ato, right? So now elama shekibalnu b'Mesorah. What does he mean? He's not talking about the chumrah. He's talking about the chula. He means. Everything that we have now, we don't have to check the simonim because we have iftar nachum Mesorah. It's gewaldig. Everything that we have, we know is kosher because we have Mesorah on it.
Where's going from Memphis?
No, because that's where the halach is brought down.
They had the kula also?
Yeah, the whole thing is kamon b'simon pei beis gabi simani ofis fakir, and that's why it was bakatzer. And that's something that everybody knows. Ain't let what. Fakir, what he writes by Simon Office is more medoik the way I'm learning. I'll explain you why. Because he doesn't mention, he just says ukil kamon gabi simon pei beis gabi simani ofis. He doesn't say he's talking about the Ramah. the chumrah that we have about Mesorah is only the Ramah. Mechaber is not back on it. So if I care, he should have said it. He should have, like he always said, he should be only talking about the Ramah. For he's talking about the Mechaber. And it's even more. It's even more because if you think about it, the halacha of Oiftar Nechel Mesorah is mamish this halacha over here. That's mamish this halacha. It's not a new takana. But if you're going to say that takana like the Pri Megadim or like the Chazon Ish, that there's a new takana that we're not going to be makabel or anything, so he has to be marich a little bit and say that we have the same thing, the same takana. He just says u'kamam b'simani efis. So he doesn't. So the shach kenzayin is b'chlal not being. He's not introducing any new halachas b'chlal. He's just saying the mitzias, and this is something everybody always knew. And everybody always knew this thing that we don't have any new animals. So what's again? So Mevela, and therefore he's not gonna be married in these halachas. And he's but Avadi he says I ain't I'm not saying you shouldn't look at these halachas beis yosef. Avadi should look at them in beis yosef. It's negei halacha. It's negei Avadi. I'm not saying that it's not halacha. It's just I'm going to be mekatzer because it's not so. It's not a leper. That's for the shach. The time is running, so let's move on to the other things. Okay, so now there's the Chacham Sodom. If you look quickly at the Chacham Sodom, let's try to do this really quickly. The next two parts we'll try to do quickly. If you look at the Chacham Sodom is weird that the Chazon Ish says the Chacham Sodom learned the shach like him. That the shach is saying that that every single animal needs a Mesorah no matter what. Now, what's the lashon of the Chacham Sodom? Chacham Sodom says almost the lashon of the shach in the middle. Ulefisha ein lanu. He's been telling us the halachas of simonim. Right? It's the Chacham Sodom klal lamed vav seif aleph. And he says in the middle of the seif, he says ulefisha ein lanu oichlin ela mashi kiblu b'mesoros me'aviseinu. Yeah. Ufisha ein anu oichlin ela mashi kiblu b'mesoros me'aviseinu. Ein anu oichlin. Yeah. Ein anu oichlin mashi kiblu b'mesoros me'aviseinu kamon simavov. Nimket asalanu lechol min achayis rak hatzvi. Rak hatzvi shenikalanu, the tzvi that we know. L'chein lo yatakti asimonim v'roitz leida yimsa b'shulchan aruch simin ayin tes sim. Right? That's the Chacham Sodom seems very, very, very clear. Right? That's the Chacham Sodom. Now, Agavoch he says rak hatzvi. Now it's a little bit short. Why is he saying rak hatzvi? We don't need any new chayas, right? Meaning you don't need any new wild animals like what they have the wildebeest. We don't need any new wild kosher animals, and we don't need any more behemoths also like the Zebu or something else or the yak. Some new, right? It's a little bit dark in the lashon of the Chacham Sodom, but okay, that's the Chacham Sodom. Right now, there's another problem with the Chacham Sodom. There's another problem, Agavocha stam, and that it's mavur that the shach is not so machmir on simonim on Mesorah like the Ramah. It means like this: by oifis, where it's a suffix deraisa, by oifis that it's a suffix deraisa, right? And still, if you have the three simonim, there's certain times that the Ramah is machmir, the Mechaber is mekel, and the shach is mekel also. Right? So here you have the shach is being mekel, that you don't have this mordig chumrah Mesorah, but legabi oifis, where it's a suffix deraisa, but legabi behemoths is going to be machmir. It's mordig shah. So there's one more lashon in this Chacham Sodom. If you look at the Chacham Sodom says it's like this. A little bit before what I read already, he says like this. If it's a new animal, we were makir. What? That's good. That's the Gemara, right? That it tells you ben chaya lebehema. Uben chaya tohira l'tameh. What's that? The Kruches tells you about if it's a chaya tohira or a chaya tameh. What's this thing about chaya tohira l'tameh? What's this new thing? It tells you, regardless if it's kosher or it's not kosher, it tells you if it's a chaya or if it's a behema. What's this thing that it's telling you also if it's a chaya tohira or it's a tameh? What's that? v'hanir loima, that the Chachmas Adam had the same problem like the Pri Megadim had in the Shach. That what's the Shach saying? Right? What's the Shach? And he's being maitik the Shach over here. He's being maitik. He had the same problem the Shach. How could the Shach be introducing this new halacha? This new issa, what are you worried about? What can you be worried about? Why should I be makban on Mesorah? What's there to worry about? If it's chooses cut and if it's marfus parsa, it's kosher. What's the chashash? And the Chachmas Adam, the less braver, said that the pshat in the shach is like the Beis Yankiv. If you remember, right in the beginning, I said that there's a Beis Yankiv, and this Chuvas Beis Yankiv, the sefer from Rabbi Yankiv ben Shmuel Mizit Amar. It was a little bit after the Shach, this sefer, and over there he says, it's brought down the Pesachei Tshuva, and he says that for the kashrus of a chaya, I need 3 simanim. I need malagera, marfus parsa, and the simanim by the horns. So even though the Pesachei Tshuva doesn't look like that in the Shach, and the Pesachei Tshuva is mavchit, but Chachmas Adam says I can't have any other pshat in the Shach. What else could the Shach mean? So he says, so Mamela, the Chachmas Adam is learning pshat in the Shach like the Beis Yankiv. That Nasu Chacham Simonim Lahakim Ben Chaya L'Behema U'Ben Chaya Tohira L'Tameya. That these Simonim make the difference between Chaya Tohira L'Tameya. That's Mamash the Beis Yankiv. Okay, that's the thing, and I just wanted that would be another that the pshat of the Chachmas Adam is learning like the Beis Yankiv. Now you could be makbel like the Beis Yankiv, but the Beis Yankiv, I mean, kipshuta we don't pass like the Beis Yankiv. We for sure don't pass like the Beis Yankiv, but the Chachmas Adam is not saying like the Chazon Ish this new issa of Mesorah. I want to try to rush real quickly to say one last piece. Okay, one last piece. So again, so we went through the Shach. We said a new Shach, the Shach that the Shach is talking about Metzias. Now we said in the Chachmas Adam is not saying it's a new problem of Mesorah that we're not makabel only things that we know. The Chachmas Adam is learning up Shach in the Shach like the Beis Yankiv. This Beis Yankiv that the Beis Yankiv seems to say a whole pilpul that comes out nishvi not like the Gemara. But the Beis Yankiv seems to say that for a chaya, for the kasha of a chaya, you need 3 simanim. You need marfus parsa, malagera, and what's called it, and also the kanai, and that's why the lashon of Chachmas Adam is that it's ben chaya toyer l'tameya, and he says that's why then came asal lechel menachayis rakatzvi. Why didn't he talk about by behemoths? Because it's not negated by behemoths. Behemoths for sure malagera marfus parsa is enough. It's only negated by chayis. Because it's only the Beis Yankiv. Okay. That's the part. That's the Chachmas Adam. So I just want to chaperein the Aruch HaShulchan. And in the last letter from the Chazon Ish, he chaperein the Aruch HaShulchan. It's really late, so I'm going to do this quickly. The Aruch HaShulchan says, if you look at the bottom piece, it's the Aruch HaShulchan Siman Pei, Sivkat and Yud Beis, all the way in the bottom in parentheses. In parentheses, the Aruch HaShulchan says like this: Ayin Pesachei Tshuva, which is the Pesachei Tshuva that brings down the Beis Yankiv. Sivkat Nalef, B'Shem Beis Yankiv, V'Hisek Aleph, Ayin Shom, and he frags it up, right? The Beis Yankiv frags it up. V'Ein Shum Nafkamina B'Zel L'Chiteitek, and there's absolutely no Nafkamina in the halach of the Beis Yankiv if you're Midayik. So the Chazon Ish, what does the Aruch HaShulchan mean? Ain Shum Nafkamina. Here the Beis Yankiv is telling you that Midayraisa. Midaraisa, I need for the kashrus of a chaya. If a new animal comes around, a new wildebeest, a new chaya that nobody ever ate before, I need 3 simanim for its kashrus. I need malagir, marfus parsa, and the simanim mekanim. And if not, it's also midaraisa. And the Aruch HaShulchan says, "Ve'ein shum nafkamina b'zel l'chiteitek." Akoch the Aruch HaShulchan means like Mizak Chazon Ish, that Avada, that Eilanuel, Atal Mashanachim Mesorahs, Allah of Mesorah, that we don't need anything, and that's why there's no nafkamina. Ain't shum nafkamina, and one's Issa Derais and one's Issa Derabanan. I don't know why you could say one's a minig. I don't know, it's not so shtak meduik, but that's the Chazon Ish. Yeah? That's what he wants to bring the right from the Aruch HaShulchan.
Where?
Oh, what's the L'chiteitek? It's also not so good. Yeah. Anyway, it's not. It's for sure. But anyway, this is what the Chazon Ish. Anyway. So the Maisa, the Beis Yankiv, and the Beis Yankiv, if you look at the Beis Yankiv, it's a sefer that was mamish, not, it's hard to get hold of. It was very, very hard to get hold of. Nowadays you can get it anyway, but it was only printed once, it was never reprinted. And if you go through it, it's a longer shtickle. It's a long arichis. I'm not going to go through, it's late, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but bottom line is like this. It's impossible, right, from the Gemara. Forget about the Lashon of the Shulchan Aruch, like you were asking. That the Shulchan Aruch is mefurish, that he says right after that if it's the Eina Mefutzolis, V'imchas achas mikol elu, if it's missing the end of the Shulchan Aruch, this is the kasha that Meseches Chulin says. V'imchas achas mi'elu ha'shalosh simonim chel ba'asam. But it's mefurish in the Shulchan Aruch that avada the meat is mutter, right? Right? So what's the Beis Yankiv saying? And Shulchan Aruch didn't bring it in Seminary Test. The Shulchan Aruch didn't say anything. It's a clear. And the Gemara. What's with the Gemara? The Gemara says Chayav Chal Behema. If you remember, the Gemara says what's the Simoni Chayav? The Gemara says Simoni Chayav. What do you mean? It's Chayav Chal Behema. So the Gemara is negay for Chel B'V'dam. But Beis Yankiv is forgetting about the ganze Gemara. So if you go through, it's a longer shtickle. But the bottom line is like this. The Beis Yankiv is saying, he's saying like this. He's saying it's a whole pilgrim, but the bottom line is that it's never negated. Why? Because he's learning Pashtus. This is the Svara. He's saying that Simonu is not just a simon; it's a simon. And the bottom line is like this: a kosher chaya needs all three of the Simonu, Malagera, Mafres Parsa, and the Simonu B'Karnayim. Yeah. If it doesn't have the Karnayim, what is it? What is it? It's not treif. Why? Because it's a behemoth. The Simona by the Karnayim do two things. They first of all give it kashrus of a kosher chaya, and it also differentiates him between the chaya and the behemoth, like the Gemara says. So what will be if you have something that's malager and mafres parsa and doesn't have the Simona of the Karnayim? If it has the Simona of the Karnayim, malager and mafres parsa and the Karnayim, what is it? It's a kosher chaya. If it's malager and mafres parsa and it doesn't have the Karnayim, what is it? He's not dingzach with the Gemara. The Gemara says that what? That it's a behemoth. So if it's malager or mafres parsa and it doesn't have the simona by the karnayim, it's a kosher behemoth. So it's either a kosher chaya with the three simonim, or without the three simonim with the two simonim, it's a kosher behemoth. Right? So what's in the gay is hoshtikol Torah. His hoshtikol Torah, he has a hoshtikol Torah with the Gemara over there in Karish, in Karen Echad Hayel Mitzchay. It's a whole arichas. It's not negay the whole pilpul. Bottom line is, but the bottom line is, it's only negay. It's only negay. It's never negay to the aser midaraisa, because if it's not a kosher chay, it's a kosher behemoth. Zok Torah Chashulchan ve'ein shum nafkamina b'zel l'chiteitek. There's no nafkamina. Not because there's an Issa Mesorah. Pasha nothing. If the Beis Yankiv himself is not going connected to Gemara, he's just saying that if you that by a chaya to be for a kosher chaya, you need malager, mafres parsa, and the simona b'oifid, and the simona b'karnayim. And if you don't have the simona b'karnayim, it's a behemoth, and it's a behemoth that's kosher because it's malager, mafres parsa. So we don't have so I mean if we're right over here, so we don't have a raya from the Chazon Ish, from the Aruch HaShulchan either, to that is this new chumrah of Mesorah.